thing to say. This is Polly. This is Mommy. That's how our whole thing started with the polar bears, but that's another story. I just kind of wanted to bring them to some comfort. I don't really need to hold them. I just take Polly wherever I go now, forever. Okay. I don't know how much time I have, but I could probably go on and on and on, or cut it short. I think Gina called me and asked me if I would just do or say something from the heart. And I left it at that. I didn't ask her anymore. First of all, I saw it was at a studio, and I'm like, wait, who's this? What's this? I just kind of went through the logistics. And she said, she's using the space, which was fine. So she said, just speak from your heart. So I started writing a little bit, and then I'd edit it, and then I got kind of cutesy, and it was like I was writing an essay and trying to use impressive words, and I'm like, just really speak from the heart. So I'm going to kind of read a little bit of it, because I don't know if I have it pretty much memorized, but it's, of course, the only time I decided to read it out loud was this morning, and my 3 little dogs went ballistic, and I know my son Asher, our son Asher, was there. I mean, he was just like, come on, Mom. So,
Damiann, are you more comfortable sitting? We can all see you.
I don't know. We'll see. Okay. I'm kind of. I don't want to really read it, and I stop and pause a little bit, but I want you to feel like the impact of what we've gone through, because nobody can ever know how you feel until you've gone through this. I mean, people have lost children through disease, from accidents, but when they take their own lives, it's indescribable, But anyway, I'm going to start with that, okay? Sorry, Bobby's going to be hard, honey. 6 months ago, we kicked in Asher's bedroom door, where we found him just moments after he shot himself in the head. I thought he was faking. I thought he was faking. Soon enough, we realized he wasn't. And I'm not going to go into the details, because that was our own hell, and I will go back to some of that. Considering my frame of mind, emotions, or activities, it can feel like it was 6 seconds ago, 6 minutes ago, 6 hours ago, 6 days ago, 6 weeks ago. And in a rare moment, it can actually feel like 6 years ago, like I can actually have a little happy. Depending on your age, you may recall all the details when Kennedy was shot, or when John Lennon was killed, or when Ronald Reagan took a bullet in his chest. Many of us knew where we were, what we were doing, and what we were even wearing. I remember all the details of the day I lost my son to suicide on 11/11/14. I even have all of our affectionate and witty texts and selfies we shared that evening, right up until the moment when he shut off his phone. Naturally, I have read over our text conversation hundreds and hundreds of times. I replayed the scene of finding him in the aftermath obsessively in my mind, caught in a continuous loop, changing the outcome every time, or trying to change it. Existing in this horror movie was all-consuming. I begged Asher to come to me in my dreams. After my initial zombie state, he has continuously visited me in my dreams every night. At times, he appears so real that I would awaken in a complete panic, soaking wet. Some dreams were when he was young. The torturous dreams were set in the present. I was aware in my dream state that he would always die at the end. No matter what I do, I was going to die. So it's like, well, what's the point of even finishing the dream? I still dream about Asher every night with varying degrees, levels of intensity. Many dreams are impressive enough to document, while others can set an ominous tone for my whole day, leaving me clenched and stressed. My emotions were completely out of control. I found refuge in prescribed meds and alcohol. After all, it was a celebration of Asher's life. There was a constant parade of mourners wearing their masks of shock, pity, and morbid curiosity. The only physical release was when I would curl up on my knees, cry convulsively, and pummel my head with both my fists. The other release was power walking on the beach by myself while my sister sat vigil in the car. It felt as if I accelerated my gait, I would be catapulted into heaven to be with Asher. Oh, I yelled at him, I begged him, and I begged God to take me. If I couldn't save Asher here on earth, then he needed to save me and take me and me be with him, because I've always saved my son like everybody does with their children. After a month of self-abuse, or 2 months, however long it lasted, and uncontrollable crying, I availed myself to all the help and love I could get. My estranged husband pushed away our personal conflict and moved into protection mode. He made sure that I was never alone and didn't harm myself. My sisters pressed pause on their lives to stay with me for several weeks at a time. They did everything for me. I mean, everything. It was like, you know, what you always want to get weighted on everything. And I was like, okay, I can do this, but everything. But, you know, most importantly, they just loved me. They just loved me and could let me release it. They didn't know how to handle this either. I mean, you know, no one in our circle experienced this. Nobody. Most importantly, they just loved me. A few sacred friends made sure I was fed, hugged, and safe. I opened up to a compassionate, brilliant, and spiritual therapist. I connected with an empathetic psychiatric nurse and an EMDR specialist. I even went to a medium. I was keeping my head and heart open to everything. I journaled daily by dictating my thoughts, which I labeled Frosty Feelings, into Siri. Because I was doing that before with my own journey. I used to call them the Siri talks, and now I moved into Frosty Feelings. Initially, they were mostly just one run-on sentence. I want to die, I want to die, I want to die. I fucking just want to die. I have continued to document my journey of despair. Maybe someday I will read my notes and share. I finally stopped numbing myself. I mean, I do take a Xanax every now and then. My newly prescribed antidepressants kicked in. Sleeping pills allowed me to sleep through the night. I was opposed for meds for myself, so for me to do this was huge, but I knew I needed it. I was just going to crumble. I trusted my therapist and can speak to her both intellectually as a peer and as a patient. She truly understands trauma, and thanks to a couple of sessions in EMDR, which I can tell you about later, with a comforting, warm-hearted man, I have been able to disassociate myself from most of the triggers instead of falling into the abyss. I mean, I was in that continuous loop, and I continuously would like see when we found them and what I could do and how I could change it. I can calmly tell you the story as if I was sharing the details of a juicy crime juicy crime scene show. That was kind of my kitschy thing, you know. Sometimes I'm amazed at how composed I am. When I'm busy with activities and around people, I can stay in the present moment, but Asher never leaves my mind. I carry him in my heart and often connect spiritually. Covertly, I'm in cahoots with God and the universe. Almost like the feeling when you know you're the only one who knows Santa isn't real. I feel like I have this connection with him and God, and you know, I mean, sometimes I don't want to have that connection. I just want to, like, you know, think about like where I'm going to eat and what I'm going to do. But I'm just pretty much riding that wave. Other times, I can't even leave my safe condo except to walk my dogs. I occasionally have a breakdown with less severity than I succumb to in my early grieving. Throughout the years, I have found relief from writing poetry. I wrote a poem around Thanksgiving, which I could read if you want me to read it, okay, and then stop a minute. Let's see where it is. Okay, this is my poem I wrote around Thanksgiving. Sometimes it just kind of comes out. Everyone does everything, and yet nothing can ease my pain. Only my purpose and actions will keep me from going insane. I can ruminate over and over with no satisfying outcome. I can drug myself until I feel incapacitated and simply go numb. I awaken each morning with a stabbing of a proverbial knife. Hopefully soon, I'll want to wrap myself around life. When my grieving subsides, which I guess it never will, I will embrace my new fate. God, help me make a difference before another enters the eternal gate. The torture that constantly lacerates my heart is that your mommy couldn't make your pain depart. I know you long to be happy and mature, but the depths of your depression took you on a permanent detour. So, now my eyes see nothing but despair, but my soul knows that I have so much to share. I tried my best to keep you safe since the day of your birth. Now you are an angel from heaven to protect us on earth. Just like we did every single day, I will pause for our moment and hug you in our own special way. Love you more. Okay, so that's the one. Okay. Okay. So I wrote the poem after Thanksgiving, and then I was devoid of any prose until one day after a visit with my therapist. A poem just emanated from within, and I detonated all my pent-up emotions. I can read you that one too. Let's see, where is it? Wait, I know I have. This one's probably a little bit more graphic, but the bullet may have entered your head, but it's my heart that shattered and bled. My mind is channeling to accept your death. My being aches for hugs and a whisper of your breath. Our spirits are connected at the core. Why was it time for your soul to soar? I was always enlightened by the process of life. It's your untimely exodus that is causing me strife. For now, I must continue my journey alone. My spiritual healing will set the tone. Repressing scenes of your final event, feeling grateful for your brief life well spent. Today may be the first day I'm not longing to die. Life is eternal. For now, a proverbial goodbye. So I was able to write this in March. I mean, seriously, that was like probably the only moment where I felt like I didn't want to die. I still want to die, but I don't want to die. I'm not going to kill myself because it's ridiculous if I killed myself and he killed himself, you know. But you just feel like, you know, when you lose a child, like what else is there? I mean, really, you know, we've all been through relationships or lost pets, but you replace those. You don't replace your kid. Okay, so let's see. Okay. There were, and still are, a very few special angels here on earth who have shared my path of grieving. Wait a minute, did I skip a piece? that talked about Bobby and everybody else. Didn't I talk about that yet?
Yeah.
I did. Didn't I? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I did. Okay.
Yeah.
There were and still are a very few special angels here on earth who have shared my path of grieving. One angel is a stone's throw across my balcony. I thought she was going to be here, but I don't know. It's kind of crazy life. I really appreciate the sporadic texts and calls from friends and family. But I've settled into sadness. While my life is still in crisis, others have naturally continued with their own routines. I feel abandoned. I mean, I hate to say it, but you know, when I wrote this, I think I felt it more, but I mean, I'm just kind of alone here. I sometimes hum, "Where have all the mourners gone after Asher's passing?" I've gone into hiding, putting conflicted energy into decorating the new condo that Asher and I moved into less than a week before he killed himself. We had just gone shopping 2 days before his suicide for his new bedroom set and hangout room furniture. He configured the rooms to accommodate all of his friends for weekend sleepovers. You know, we were on a path to happy. Somehow the condo is transforming into an adorable abode. Asher's bedroom has become, I'm glad I didn't purchase the furniture. Asher's bedroom has become the guest room, decorated with warm sea colors, tad feminine, and his hangout room is now my butterfly Zen den. I often think of leaving and selling it furnished. I have no attachments left. I was intrinsically connected to Asher's heart and soul, but I didn't understand his brain. Mental illness has always existed in society, just like homosexuality, cancer, and illicit drug use. Cancer is no longer a death sentence. Did you ever think our society would accept gay marriage and medical marijuana? Really? The prejudice of interracial couples doesn't faze this generation. Kids diagnosed with ADD used to be separated or ridiculed by their peers. Now, kids openly brag about having ADD or want meds so they can keep up with the schoolwork. We all judged tattoo or body piercing with disdain. Many of our own children and friends are tatted, even ourselves, and pierced, and we barely give it a second look. Television is inundated with commercials about erectile dysfunction and low T. All commercials about depression are geared only towards adults. It is time for the stigma and shame of mental illness and depression to vanish. My sister wrote the draft for Asher's obituary because I was too loopy and still in shock. She wrote the basic obit, but omitted how he died. I immediately changed it to read, Asher Reuben Hendel, 16, chose his own path to heaven on November 11, 2014. Of course, everyone in the community already knew the details, but the rest of the world didn't know yet. Everyone was shocked that Asher took his own life. He was the life of a party. He had 1 million friends. He was adorable. He had a loving girlfriend. I was completely blown away. We already endured the gossip when my husband and I separated 6 months prior to Asher's death. But now, we were completely exposed. Oddly enough, I didn't care. After all, I lost my son, so nothing else mattered. I think that's why I can speak to people, because, like, you know, I don't care about all these stupid little things. And I don't, like, you know, people say, oh, I'm sorry that I was worried about that. I'm like, it's okay. You know, I can be that way too, you know, but I just, you know, just have to keep going on somehow. Looking back to the early weeks of mourning, I can't believe how many friends and acquaintances shared their stories of losing a loved one to suicide, who had felt depressed at times, and either had suicidal ideation or attempts. All of them who experienced stories asking not to share with anyone. I locked their experiences in my vault. You see, Asher was the local Robin Williams, the life of the party, everyone loved him, and yet obviously there was a deeper side. We knew he suffered from depression and got him all the help that we could, but he didn't want anyone to know. All I can say is we were fortunate enough to have the means to get the help that we needed. Some people believe if a person is determined to take their own lives, it's not a question of if, but a question of when. Since then, we set up a foundation called Forever Frosty. That was his hashtag. And I don't know whether it started because of the polar bears or being frosty was cool. I don't know. But that just seems to work. You can follow us on Facebook. I have a Facebook page. It's going to pass out cards. You can do it after. We want to help teens. First of all, we had the 529 and the Florida prepaid. So luckily, we're going to put all that in it to start our foundation. And we got a lot of donations from friends and family. So we've got this. We haven't quite officially established it, but it's like this week. But anyway, we want to help teens who can't afford treatment or educate people or spray the funds where we see fit. We have been approached by many groups asking for funds and our time. I am still so raw. I know I look good, right? Mm-hmm. That's the thing that kills. I mean, I can see it, right? That's the part that kills me. Like, I mean, it can take me like the whole day to kind of contemplate getting ready, doing this, that, and the other. But I get out there and I put that face, and they're like, "Wow, you look great." It's kind of like, okay, so therefore I'm better. Yeah. But I do that more for other people because, you know, I don't want anybody to feel sorry for myself when we're out. I mean, I'm here out for a different function, and it shouldn't be about me. I don't want to bring people down, and I don't want to talk about it when I'm like trying to party. Anyway, I am still so raw that for once in my life, I am taking care of myself and not saying yes to every charity that needs help. The former me was the supreme volunteer. I will emerge from my cocoon in due time. I believe my biggest gift is having empathy and not passing judgment on others. I think I can help other parents that are going through my hell. To quote my yoga teacher, she said, "If you can, you must." So now, I'd like to conclude this. I want everyone to bow their head. Okay. I will conclude with a portion of my evening prayer I would recite to Asher at bedtime. Thank you, God, for my baby. Thank you for this child you gave me. He makes me know what life's about. He makes me believe in you, no doubt. Thank you. that's it. Ta-da. Or Ash would say, draw, for da-da, draw. And I didn't break down. I'm telling you, I thought, I could do this. It's nothing. I can talk this like it doesn't mean anything. And then I decided, this morning, I'm the queen of last minute. Thank God my printer worked. And so I got it all done. And then I start reading it. I think I said that. And then my dogs went ballistic. It was like, oh my God. And then I said, Asher, I'm not exposing you here. I didn't want to expose him because, he's still, my guy. And I hate rumors, but I figured that at some point, if, personal friends or, all the mental health experts want to talk to me, I'm game with that, but privately, and some of the things that we did, and the EMDR, I don't know if you know what that is. It's amazing, amazing therapy. So I think every little bit helps, and I've had so much love. And even though when I say I feel abandoned, I was going to delete that, but sometimes you do just kind of feel that way. But, then you kind of take a shower and put makeup on.
Well, I met Damiann through her volunteering to do something so wonderful for us. And it was an event that we were dedicating towards adolescent suicide. And lo and behold, one day later, Asher took his life.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding me.
And when I went to Damiann's home, it was just a day or two after it happened. Damiann had me sit next to her, and she said, Gina, I don't know if I want to kill myself or if I want to start a foundation. And I said, well, they're both equally as crazy. So let's talk about this. And she said, you'll help me, won't you? And I said, I will. And I will help you.
I know.
And I am not there is no better place than where I am working.
I know.
It's almost as if God put me there.
I know. It's amazing,
to help her
how you
with her
connect with
foundation.
people, and what you have to lose to keep it going. Because I am not going to have our son's life like this, in vain. Or any sons, anybody. Everybody's important. And I think the reach out is great, and I love you.
I love you, Damiann, and I thank you. Bobby, thank you so much for coming. I know how painful this must be for both of you. But just talking to even these professionals, how many people in this room are professionals in the mental health industry that got something from what you just said now? And we're here to help you, and we love you, and we thank you so, so, so much.